It started with a job listing. It's overnight theater security. $500 night. Easy work. A recent college grad named Eric, broke and desperate, applied without question. The listing was for the old Marlin Grand, a once glorious movie palace from the 1930s, now mostly forgotten except for occasional events. They needed someone to watch the place from midnight to 6 a.m. The manager, a stiff old man named Hal, met him at the door. "Nothing to do," Hal said, handing over a ring of keys. "Just stay awake and don't go backstage." "That door stays locked." Eric laughed. "Haunted or something?" Hal didn't smile. "That door stays locked," he repeated. The first night was uneventful. Dusty chandeliers, rows of red velvet seats, and the smell of old popcorn. Eric watched Netflix on his phone in the lobby, but sometime around 3 a.m., he heard a soft dragging sound from the stage. He turned the flashlight toward the curtains. Nothing. But then again, the curtains were different, closed tighter than before. Like something behind them didn't want to be seen. Eric walked up to the stage and stood below the curtains. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. He didn't open them. The second night, the dragging came back, this time followed by a dull thud, thud-thud-like, someone pacing with a limp. He recorded it on his phone, but the sound never showed up in the playback. Just silence. On the third night, things escalated. Around 2:17 a.m., the theater's main screen lit up on its own. Black and white grainy footage played a silent film of a man standing motionless behind a curtain. The film flickered and jumped as the figure slowly turned toward the camera. The footage stopped before the man's face became visible. Eric ran to the projector room. It was empty. There was no reel loaded. That night, he dreamed of velvet curtains wrapping around him like arms pulling him somewhere dark, somewhere below the theater. He woke up on the floor of the lobby at dawn. He hadn't fallen asleep. On night 4, Eric confronted Hal. "Look," he said. "What's behind that stage? Who is the man in the footage?" Hal's expression went cold. "There's no man. There's no footage. If you're seeing things, you can leave." Eric didn't. He needed the money. But he bought a crowbar and brought it to work that night. At 2 a.m., the dragging and thudding began again. This time, it was closer. Behind the curtain, something breathed a raspy wheeze, followed by the sound of nails scratching wood. Eric climbed the stage, crowbar in hand, and stared at the velvet curtain. "Don't," a voice whispered from the balcony. Eric froze. "Who's there?" No response. He gripped the crowbar, heart pounding, and pulled the curtain aside. Nothing, just the back wall. No trapdoors, no props. Until he noticed the outline of a narrow door in the corner. It's painted over, almost invisible. He forced it open. A narrow staircase spiraled downward, no lights, no sounds except his own shallow breath. He descended, flashlight shaking. Beneath the stage, the air turned wet and foul. He found a small, windowless dressing room. On the cracked mirror was scrawled, "He never left." And in the corner of the room was a suit. A black and white pinstripe tuxedo. Laid out perfectly. On a chair in front of it was a mask. White. Featureless. A voice behind Eric whispered, "It's your turn." He turned around, but no one was there. Except the mask was no longer on the chair. The theater manager found Eric's phone the next morning. It had been recording. The final video showed Eric walking backstage, then a distorted, echoing voice saying, "Now the curtain rises." Eric was never seen again. That night, the screen in the Marlin Grand flickered to life on its own once more. A new silent film began. This time, it featured a man in a black and white suit, standing behind the curtain, waiting.